You got Walt Frazier walking down the hall, a fucking NBA legend.
Wow.
Hell yeah. An all-star. Look at, he's still got the swagger. Look at him.
Oh, yeah. He still looks very intense.
He's 65 years old.
There he is.
The great Walt Frazier.
Sir.
What's going on, Walt?
Good, man.
We were just talking about, obviously you won championships with the Knicks in 70 and 73, and I was mentioning all the guys. I want to know what happened to Jerry Lucas. He was a speed reader. I read one of his books growing up, how to speed read, and I can't even read normally.
Yeah, he could remember the New York phone book.
Yes.
He had all these tricks. That was a way to do that. So
like a photographic memory?
Yeah.
No, he had tricks like Walt said.
Yeah, we used to ask him, when do you sleep, man?
When you get pussy.
So he's in California.
Yeah?
Yeah, still wheeling and dealing.
He's doing all right?
Yeah.
As a guy who played many years ago, does it, like, when you look at what guys make now, and I always wondered, do athletes get, like, is there got to be that one party that goes like, ugh, like if I had played like X amount of years later, do the salaries bother you a little bit or make you go like, oof?
It's like playing Monopoly. I can't even relate to that. You know, you're making $15 million, $20 million a year, and I try not to think of it because otherwise I'd never be happy.
Right.
You know, and a lot of players aren't. I would say like 80-90% of the guys are very disappointed when they see today's salaries. And
you would think the new guys would, throw you a little something for paving the way.
Yeah,
a little check in your mailbox every once in a while. LeBron James check would be nice, right, Walt?
Yeah, they will not. They wouldn't vote to. The guys from the '60s were not included in the pension.
Wow.
And these guys really didn't want to give them any money because they don't know. A lot of the players don't know the history of the game today. Mm-hmm. They just came in primarily for the money, and they think it's always been this way where there's millions of dollars, sold-out arenas, four-star hotels, private planes, Rolls Royces,
Well, you had a Rolls Royce, though.
Right. I was one of the few guys. Earl and I, we were the Rolls Royce backcourt at the time.
That's right.
So wait, they didn't
Earl Monroe, one of the greatest guards of all time, too.
Earl the Pearl.
Earl the Pearl was amazing.
I even knew that.
Yeah, Earl the Pearl, of course.
Yeah, he had the showman game, shaking and baking, the school ground type of play.
Yeah, and Walt would roll up to the games in a Rolls Royce.
Yeah, mink coats, right? Like in complete style.
Yeah, New York style.
Yeah, total New York style.
So who didn't want to include you guys in the pensions? It was the NBA or the players today?
Well, the guys from the '60s were not included. Like Bob Cousy and those type of guys were not included in the pension plan.
So some of those legends are hurting today.
Yeah. A lot of the players, a lot of the guys are. Even some of the former players, man, they are destitute. A lot of them.
It's like the old fighters too.
Yeah, I was saying that old boxers. Like we just there's a big article on Iran Barkley, who I guess he made $5 million over his career, but I don't know if he spent it wisely.
But he's living in a hotel in the Bronx.
Well, remember the article recently in Sports Illustrated that said about 80% of these guys once they leave the game are broke. Mm-hmm. So
is it bad investments? Do you think, or bad business managers, or you're a young guy and all of a sudden you're handed X amount of money and
all of the above?
Yeah,
women. Wine women song.
Yeah.
Women will get you every time.
Uncle
right,
Sam.
Uncle Sam takes his piece.
It really is amazing how some people never think that the government's going to come and go, look, you owe us taxes. It's like you got to give it to them because they're always going to. They're not ever going to go, oh, yeah, we forgot about you. They always show up at the door asking for it.
Now, Walt, I grew up a Knicks fan. When are we going to have a team that we could be proud of again? It's been a long fucking time.
I think we're blending one now, man. I think
we're getting
coming together, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, Stoudemire is a positive role model for these young guys. Terry off, some tenacity in the paint. Felton, orchestrating, penetrating. So this last road trip we were 3-1. So hopefully we can carry this over tonight. It's amazing that the world's most famous arena, but we're not that dominant at home. So we've got to become a better home court team.
Right on, yeah.
Yeah. How do the young players treat you? They treat you like with reverence, right? I mean, you're one of the gods of the game. It's got to be.
Yeah, they call me the legend.
That's nice, right?
Yeah,
of course it is.
The women still responding, I'm sure.
Sometimes.
If they've had enough drinks, what are you getting at? Walt Frazier rules.
What do you miss most when you leave it? Because I've asked other athletes before, team sport guys. Is it the camaraderie or is it the schedule? What is it you miss the most?
That's a good question, man. The camaraderie and the challenge of every other night to be a hero.
Really?
Yeah. Nothing else in your life is going to give you that. where you have that competitiveness and you look forward to going out there. After every loss, you want to come back and redeem yourself. So it's not like football where you have to wait a week.
Right.
You know, you could be a hero tonight and a bomb tomorrow in the NBA. So, but that's what I like, the challenge. And then, of course, the guys in the locker room, all the BS that goes on in the locker room.
Teasing each other, right?
Yeah. And you got to remember, you're in the prime of your life, in your 20s, 25 years old, the world's greatest city. We were, winning, having a winning tradition.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a lot of fun.
What is the biggest time in playing that you were just like, oh, I'm awful? Like, what is the biggest? Like they say, you're the hero or the GOAT. Like, what is the worst one you can remember? Like the shot you wish you would have made, or is there a moment that you're like, that one I could kind of redo if I could?
Well, there are a lot of those. I mean, you see, most people think when you lose a close game is easy. Those are the worst. I'd rather get blown out by 50.
That makes more sense.
So then
you can sleep at night after being blown out by 50, right?
Right, because when you lose by one, there's always if it woulda, shoulda, coulda, what you were talking about. Yeah, if I had made that shot, if I had made this pass, so it kind of wears on you.
Yeah, and Walt did, I think, 10 years with the Knicks?
Yeah,
something like
10
that?
years, 67 to 77.
And then you broke all our hearts when you had to, finish your career in Cleveland.
Yeah, man.
What did you do, 1 or 2 seasons there?
10.
You did 10 years in Cleveland?
Seemed like it.
No.
I equated to being shipped to Siberia.
Wait, how many years did you really do?
I did 2, but
okay, you scared me.
Funny.
I was like, I didn't, wow. Yeah, 2 years in Cleveland.
Yeah, it was rough, man. But it kind of prepared me for afterwards. I'm sure if I never got traded, I'd probably still be riding around in the rows in New York being Clyde. Mm-hmm. So once I was traded, I became more of a homebody, and I knew I was only going to play a couple of more years, so I started focusing on my life after the game. And I don't know, now you guys know I have a place in the Virgin Islands. I'm into gardening and all that. Yeah. St. Croix.
Nice.
What do you grow in your garden? A little,
A little marijuana. I have fruit trees, mango trees, orange trees, anything there. You put a stick in the ground, it'll grow. Yeah, the weather's very conducive. So,
how long are you down there every year?
Once the season's over,
you're done. That's where you call home?
Yeah, in off season. I also have rental properties there that I rent out, that I design and decorated, landscaped. So,
wow, Walt Frazier's doing all right, man.
Well, I got lucky, man. I got lucky that my only flamboyance is in clothes. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I'm a very conservative person.
Right.
You're wearing, by the way, people can't see he's wearing a very cool leather outfit. With how would you describe the jacket? It's like I love what you're wearing, and yet if I wore it, somebody would just smack me and take it off me.
You would look silly.
I can't look cool. That's
it's very
a phenomenal
American
outfit.
Indian looking.
Yeah.
These are the Indian
some leather fringe on it and some.
Actually, I got this in Vegas at one of those shops out there, the Western shops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to be the right guy to walk around on that.
It really is amazing how Walt Frazier can just dress differently than Jim Norton and look amazingly good.
Of course. He's tall, in shape.
Yeah, you really do. By the way, I don't. You don't like to compliment another man's appearance too much, but I mean, you look very, very healthy and young. It's like whatever you do. Are you still exercising regularly, or are you just one of those guys?
No, I
blessed?
do. This is what we were talking about with this book. This book was from 1974, and I was into health and fitness then, and now I'm still into it. So,
and the Just for Men doesn't hurt, right?
The Just for Men was a savior,
But it looks good on him. You can't tell he's Just for Men. He's a spokesperson for Just for Men. Yeah, he's all over the place.
You never saw the commercials?
No.
Keith Hernandez?
Him and Keith Hernandez?
Yeah,
him and
Keith
Smith?
Hernandez.
I love Emmett. I'm usually in the gym.
Well, see, you don't need it. That's why. You see, you don't need it.
I do need it. Why do you think I keep it this short? Because as soon as it starts to come in, it's gray, and I'm like, just keep the illusion that I'm still 30.
Jimmy gets Just for Trannies.
Well, you know how it is. I've heard this book too. People were talking about this book, and they said it's very funny. Like, there's some really, really funny stuff in this book. Like, it's not a completely serious book.
Right, and that's why we brought it back, because it kind of was an iconic book that people were still looking for on the internet, trying to come up with rock and study. And, even the title, A Guide to Basketball and Cool. There's a section that I show you how to catch flies. I talk about my style. I talk about women. I talk about the evolution of the game today, how the game has changed. Like when I played, I was a backcourt man. and you had to rebound, defend, score. Today, if you a point guard, you don't shoot. You shooting guard, you don't dribble. So they've taken away the versatility of the players today. So they're everybody's sort of a specialist.
Right. That's very true. Who were the greatest guards in NBA history?
Yeah, in the book, defense, was my forte. I love to play defense.
You knew how to steal that ball, Walt.
In the book, I allude to how I guarded Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, Earl Pearl, Dave Bing, Gail Goodrich, Phil Chenier, all of these prolific scorers that I had to deal with. So
my favorite player of all time. You're up there, by the way, but Pete Maravich was my
Pistol
favorite.
Pete. I have
Pete
Pistol
was
in
my
there.
favorite
Yeah,
of all time.
Yeah, he was uncanny.
Yeah.
Passing, his dribbling.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a showman like Earl the Pearl.
Oh boy, was he! And then blows out his knee doing one of those moves, and he was never the same after that.
Yeah. Actually, I was inducted into the Hall of Fame with Pete and Rick Barry in 1987.
Right.
I remember Rick Barry from the ABA
Yeah.
with the red, white, and blue ball, and he used to take the foul shots from between his legs.
Yeah. Did you laugh at those guys?
The ABA?
No, the
old time shot.
from the foul line.
But it's very accurate, man.
I know,
This guy's
but
one
it
of the-
doesn't look cool. Walt Frazier would never be doing that.
Well, you see, that's what the guys today. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the leading scorer in the history of the game,
Yes.
using the sky hook.
Yeah.
It's obsolete today because guys would say, "Hey, man, that's old school."
Right.
Yeah, but it's a very effective weapon.
It sure
but today
was.
it's style over substance in many things that's going on in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think guys are bigger today too? Like,
Oh my God,
like would
much
Abdul-Jabbar be
bigger.
as effective sky hooking? I guess because you can't block it once it's on its way in. But do
Yeah,
you
he
think-
could get it off because he was.
Yeah. There's no way to defend against that.
It really
Yeah.
doesn't look cool. It really the little leg comes up. It's almost like a very dainty move. But is it effective?
Yeah. It's because you can't block. It's very, especially if you're 7 feet tall. So today the game is more about dunks, threes.
Yeah.
It's
And neck
entertainment.
tattoos. A lot of neck tattoos, I'm noticing.
Oh man,
They're tatted up, these guys, Walt. You don't have a tattoo, do you?
No, some of these guys just they're overboard, man.
Yeah.
It's just there's no more room. There's no room left. You
Right.
know.
Who was the first guy that started? Coming up, I remember Darryl Dawkins. I think for the Nets used to
Rodman.
Yeah, Rodman
Dennis
started
Rodman.
it.
Oh, Dennis Rodman, right?
We had this discussion. Rodman or Allen Iverson started the whole tattoo.
Oh no,
craze.
I mean the whole
The dunk?
the slam being the big highlight. I mean, I just
Dr.
remember.
J.
Yeah,
Dr.
absolutely.
Swooping
Dr.
in.
J.
Yeah, Dr. J. Then Darryl was on his team.
Right.
Chocolate Thunder.
I didn't realize how short Dr. J was when he shaved his his hair down.
He shrank
Oh
before
my
your
God! I
eyes.
thought
huh?
he was like 6'10" or something. He's only like 6'4", 6'5" without that hair.
Only when he's leaving, man. This guy
Who was the toughest guy you ever faced? Like, who was the guy you hated? If you had to pick one guy you never want to face again on the court, who was the toughest one that you think you had to go up against?
Probably Monroe.
Yeah.
He's the only man I ever dreamt about. This guy used to
Really?
give me nightmares, man. Yeah.
You couldn't figure him out.
Because say if I guarded Oscar Robertson, I knew he was going to try to overwhelm me with physical size. Jerry West was going to do it with quickness, but Earl, he didn't know what he was going to do. Everything was improvisation, So everything was created on the spot, man. It was and he had that spin move. So, but I love the challenge trying to guard him. And that's why when he came to the Knicks, excuse me, a lot of people said we need 2 basketballs. It would not work. But we had such mutual respect for each other when we were opponents. Mm-hmm. So when he came to the Knicks, we never had a problem who had the ball. If I was scoring, I gave him the ball, vice versa. And I think unequivocally, we were the greatest backcourt ever.
Because basketball is different than obviously than baseball because like A-Rod and Jeter are 2 giant players. But they don't rely on each other as much as 2 guys on a basketball court, who are just constantly interacting in order to score.
And the problem is, you want your shots. And Earl wanted his shots.
Right.
Walt wanted his shots.
They say Kobe, Kobe and Shaq never kind of gelled, and that kind of hurt. Although the team did very well, but
What do you?
Early on, they struggled.
did they? Those 2?
Yeah, it's all about ego, man.
Yeah.
If you
A lot of egos
sacrifice
on
your
that
ego,
court. What you think it's going to work out for LeBron in Miami? Speaking
man,
of
can you
egos?
believe how dreadful they are?
Yeah, they're not. I think they're.
Last night they hit rock bottom and they lost to Indiana at home.
Aren't they 8-6 or something like that?
Yeah,
They were
but
expected,
They were
to,
expected
just
to be the best
super
team in the league.
yeah.
see,
Even
it's
though they're-
chemistry, man. There's a word called chemistry.
And we're